watching News 25. Local coverage you can count on. News 25 is brought to you by J.K. Nelson Law, voted best of Pahrump for 4 years. Give them a call, 775-727-9900. News 25 is also brought to you by Gunny's Air Conditioning and Heating. New, service, and repair. Call Gunny's, 775-727-6800.
Hello and welcome to this edition of News 25. Thank you for joining us here on Ace Country Radio and now streaming at KPVM.TV, and we're also on Roku now. It is Tuesday, February 27th. And our top story today involves breaking news of a structure fire. At approximately 3 this afternoon, Pahrump Valley Fire and Rescue dispatched to the area of West Vondel Street, and upon arrival, they discovered a barn fully engulfed in flames. Fortunately, Fire and Rescue quickly extinguished that fire. Valley Electric also arrived on scene to make repairs on a power line that was damaged by those flames. Nye County Sheriff's Office on the scene also state that the cause of that fire is currently under investigation. Also in our top story, a man, unfortunately, is deceased after a motor vehicle crash in Las Vegas, becoming the 31st traffic-related death in Las Vegas so far this year. RJ Camacho reports.
On February 26, a motor vehicle accident occurred between a motorcycle and a taxi cab at the intersection of University Center Drive and Flamingo Road in Vegas. This crash occurred at approximately 11:22 a.m. and resulted in the 31st death on Las Vegas roads so far this year. In response to this, the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department released a video on X, formerly known as Twitter.
This is Captain Jeff Cody of the LVMPD Traffic Bureau, here again with another traffic fatality. This is our 31st traffic fatality of the year, our second day in a row with a motorcycle-related fatality, which marks our 11th motorcycle-related fatality of the year. In this case, a motorcycle rider was eastbound on Flamingo, approaching University Center, when it failed to stop at a red light and collided with the front end of a taxi cab. Motorcycle riders, please slow down, pay attention, obey the rules of the road. Save a life, even if it's yours.
A Las Vegas teacher is taken into custody for what were reports of abuse of young autistic students at a Las Vegas area magnet school. Samantha Roberts has more on this story.
A Clark County teacher from Gilbert Magnet Elementary School was arrested on Wednesday, February 21st for allegedly assaulting a 5-year-old autistic student. Officers were dispatched to the elementary school after a report came in of a teacher pinning a student on a table and holding him down. According to the report, the teacher, Rita Villaret, had caused fresh, visible bruising to the 5-year-old student. Later that same day, a different student was pulling another student's hair, and this same teacher's response to that incident was to drag the student by her arm and place her underneath her desk for a timeout. Villaret then sat in front of the desk to prevent the 3-year-old child from leaving for several minutes, according to police. The following day, she also allegedly dragged a 4-year-old autistic student through the lunchroom by their shirt, causing the shirt to wrap tightly around the student's neck. The teacher spoke to detectives about all 3 incidents and allegedly changed her story several times, according to the report. Villaret was taken into custody and transported to the Clark County Detention Center, where she was booked for 3 counts of child abuse or neglect, 3 counts of battery on a vulnerable person, and 1 count of false imprisonment.
A Las Vegas man is arrested for kidnapping and attempted murder after a woman was able to mouth to police to help her.
A man in Las Vegas was arrested on February 20th on charges of first-degree kidnapping and attempted murder. According to the arrest report, officers were conducting a traffic stop at 9:10 p.m. when an SUV had drove by. One of the officers stated in the report that a female adult had stuck her head out of the window and mouthed, "Help me," to the officers as the vehicle drove away. Officers then left the initial traffic stop and went to stop the SUV. However, the driver allegedly ignored police and continued at a high rate of speed, causing a car chase to ensue. The driver of the vehicle, later identified as Nathaniel Pratt Fouch, ended up crashing into another vehicle, causing the chase to end. According to officers, Nathaniel had ignored commands to leave the SUV and grabbed what appeared to be a car strap and attempted to strangle the woman. Officers were able to take Nathaniel out of the car and place him into custody. However, according to the arrest report, he was continuously resisting arrest. According to police, Nathaniel and the female victim were involved in a prior domestic incident at the Stratosphere and were traveling from Illinois to California. Security had stopped them due to Nathaniel allegedly having what appeared to be a paranoia episode. According to the victim, her and Nathaniel were driving around when Nathaniel told her that she, quote, needed to die. Nathaniel Pratt Fouch is currently being held on a $50,000 bail and is scheduled for a preliminary hearing on March 12th.
Well, it is an election year, and in local coverage, News 25 attends the Republican Lincoln Day dinner and interviewed many candidates running for state and other local offices. Governor Lombardo spoke at that event, and News 25 anchor Chris Palermo interviewed all of the candidates, including Sam Brown, who's running for U.S. Senate from Nevada.
There's a lot of excitement and energy for the election cycle coming up. Jackie Rosen has been a senator who has really neglected her duties to Nevadans, and that's why she is so vulnerable. In fact, polling came out just yesterday that shows Jackie Rosen is only ahead of me by 1 point. And so we're in a great position to overtake her, and also for Nevadans to help be a part of President Trump taking back the White House. And when we do that, we'll be in a position to help Americans and Nevadans get back to a place of recovery and strength.
Now, there is a very important matter on the tips of everyone's tongues. Ballots were counted as voted that people didn't vote, didn't affect the tabulation. I think it showcases that there are and could be some discrepancies in the upcoming election.
You know, I haven't seen all of the final results in that. I know that the Secretary of State is investigating this, and this is something that we need to take very seriously. And in fact, this election is so important for our country and for our state. We have an opportunity to keep the House, to take back the White House, and important to this specific race is for us to take back a majority in the Senate. And when we do that, we can do things like help secure our border. We can ensure that we cut federal spending that's driving inflation. We can get back to energy policy that makes sense for Americans and is not enriching some of these countries who are antagonistic to us.
So, Sam, you're in Nye County, and you understand it's important, obviously, for you to see all of the state. There is an obvious difference between Clark County and Nye County. Can you explain some of those differences and how you hope to serve everybody?
Yeah, we're a diverse state, and but one of the things that is pretty common across the state is people are here because they want to be here, and there's a good sort of independent spirit about Nevadans, regardless of where you are. But the basic issues that are challenging for folks are across the board. Are inflationary pressures, high energy costs, whether that's at the pump or in people's homes, schools that are failing our children and not preparing them for success. We've got bureaucrats that have more control over our schools than parents do. We've got a border that is allowing fentanyl and crime to invade our state and our nation, and these are issues that are across the board that we need to fix.
And one more quick question in the form of 3 lightning round questions looking ahead. If you are in Washington, D.C., we have a lot of big infrastructure coming. The Oakland A's hope to come here, and we have the train from Los Angeles to Las Vegas. How do you look at some of these things, and how important are they to you?
Obviously the state needs to continue to build and to develop and to grow. And one of the things that I think DC gets caught up on is this conflict between development and environmental issues. And we need people who will smartly promote good development because that'll be what's best for our state.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. It's good to be here in Pahrump.
And you'll hear from more other candidates as we have other interviews that air on News 25 throughout our broadcasts this week. News 25 will be right back.
You're watching News 25. Local coverage you can count on.
Welcome back to News 25. Turning now to international news, in the ongoing Israeli-Hamas war, President Biden hopes that a ceasefire agreement can be reached as soon as next week. Meanwhile, the death toll in that war continues to rise. RJ Camacho reports.
According to President Biden, Israel is willing to halt its war on Hamas in the Gaza Strip during the month of Ramadan, which is a Muslim holiday. This is contingent on Hamas releasing some of the hostages they still have from the October 7th attack last year. Mediating nations, Egypt, Qatar, and the U.S., are currently working on a deal where Hamas would free a few dozen of the hostages it holds in exchange for the release of Palestinians being held prisoner by Israel. This deal also states that the halt in fighting would last for 6 weeks. President Joe Biden went on to state that, "My national security advisor tells me that they're close. They're not done yet, but my hope is by next Monday we'll have a ceasefire." The UN has also called for the release of 2 Palestinian Red Crescent paramedics that were detained by Israeli forces. According to reports, this was during an operation to evacuate 24 people from the hospital. The operation had a convoy that was led by the UN World Health Organization, and they evacuated 24 patients from the Al-Amal hospital. However, they were stopped the moment they had left the hospital by Israeli authorities. And according to Jens Lark, who is a spokesperson for the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, this is not an isolated incident. According to Lark, aid convoys have been coming under fire as of late as they, quote, systematically denied access to those who are in need. The trucks that do make it in, however, tend to be stopped by crowds, which Lark states is not an optimal way of doing humanitarian distribution, but also acknowledges that desperate people take what they can. Meanwhile, the death toll has risen to 29,878 for Palestinians, as well as another 70,215 being left wounded since the war began back on October 7th. According to the Gaza Health Ministry, 2/3 of these deaths are also stated to be of women and children. In the past 24 hours alone, 96 bodies were delivered to hospitals in the Gaza Strip after Israeli bombardments. Additionally, the hospitals received 144 wounded patients as well. The ministry has also stated that many casualties remain underneath the rubble, and they have been unable to retrieve the bodies due to constant bombing.
Well, if you're like me and always wanted to take life-saving training courses, Ed Kelly from Nye Communities Coalition is here telling us about NYCC's upcoming CPR training courses.
Hello, everyone. Ed Kelly here with Nye Communities Coalition. I want to just kind of promote our CPR 100. This is the inaugural CPR 100 for Nye Communities Coalition. We are promoting to train 100 individuals in CPR and first aid. That includes infant, child, adult CPR with AED, which is the automatic external defibrillator, and first aid. This hopefully will be at no charge. I mean, it's going to be at no charge to the individuals that are going to be involved in the training because we're asking for sponsors in the community, business owners, anyone that wants to help sponsor this training in the community. I think it's really important to get our individuals trained before the summer season comes, spring comes, anytime actually. CPR saves lives every day, especially with the AEDs. There was a grant that had come out with some AEDs for our local nonprofits, and they're going to be distributed out in the community. So we need to make sure that people are trained correctly on how to provide high-quality CPR along with the AED and save lives. And then, of course, with the first aid, because there's always something going on, events that, somebody may have an incident, injury, or illness that we can help assist them before the emergency responders arrive so that we can hand off to a higher standard of care. The information is Nye Communities Coalition. We're at 1020 East Wilson Road, the road behind Walmart. My phone number there, 775-727-9970, extension 234.
And knowing CPR will definitely come in handy if you're adventurous and want to go out on the Hoover Dam rafting adventures, which return to their full operating schedule starting tomorrow.
Returning for its historic 41st season, visitors will have the opportunity to take the Hoover Dam Raft Tour and Hoover Dam Postcard Tour every Wednesday through Sunday beginning February 28th. The day trip experience includes stops along the shore below Hoover Dam, where guests can relax among the clear and calm waters of the Colorado River. The Hoover Dam Postcard Raft Tour offers an expedited experience of the Hoover Dam and Colorado River, perfect for visitors who have limited time to spend on the water. For more information, visit hooverdamraftingadventures.com.
All right, stay tuned. Speaking of saving lives, we're telling you about a cat named Monkey that you could adopt after the break.
You're watching News 25. Local coverage you can count on. News 25 is brought to you by Mountain West Lawyer, Injury Attorneys, 727-9500.
Welcome back. Well, Tressa Wask from Pets Are Worth Saving is telling us about Monkey, a feline who could climb and go through your heart just like a jungle gym.
This is Monkey. Monkey is approximately 3 years old. It's Monkey. She needs a loving home. She's been spayed and has all of her shots and microchipped. She just needs somebody to give her lots of love. She's very boisterous and likes to talk to you. She's not real good with other cats. Some cats she's okay with, but most cats she's not real good with, so she'd do better with other cats. She doesn't like dogs at all. The adoption fees for our cats is $85. You can meet Monkey at our store at 520 East Street, or you can call 775-253-5051 to learn more about her. Go to our Facebook page at Pets Are Worth Saving Group, or you can visit our website, nevadapaws.com.
Well, what does it take to replace a utility pole? Valley Electric Association is sharing that complex process, which requires specialized equipment and special training to complete.
This segment of News 25 is brought to you by Valley Electric and its family of companies focused on serving our members. We're better together.
Distribution poles can be found all along your roads and neighborhoods, bringing power into homes and businesses. To keep the system working properly, we regularly inspect our lines and occasionally find a few poles that need to be replaced. If a pole needs to be replaced, we do our best to keep members in service while we get the job done. So, how many linemen does it take to change a pole? First, let's look at why poles need periodic replacement. Weather disasters like lightning, storms, hurricanes, and earthquakes can cause major and immediate damage. Car crashes, equipment changes, and highway relocation are also reasons why a pole may need to be replaced. But even poles that don't suffer major damage will lose some of their strength after being subjected to the elements over the years. When a pole needs changing, line crews take several steps. First, they must carefully measure and dig a hole, typically next to the old pole, that is about 15% of the new pole's height. For example, a 35-foot pole requires a hole that is at least 5 1/4 feet deep. Second, the new pole must be fitted with bolts, crossarms, insulators, ground wires, and arm braces. Third, line crews must carefully use their tools and safety equipment to detach power lines from the old pole. Next, the new pole is carefully raised, guided into position, and set. Then, the new pole is backfilled and tamped, or packed. Electric lines are then carefully moved and attached to the new pole's insulators with tie wires or clamps. Once all live lines are securely in place, the crew detaches equipment from the old pole and removes it, leaving the new pole to do its new job. So, how many linemen does it take to change a pole? As many as needed to make sure you get safe, reliable, affordable power.
News 25 WeatherCam is brought to you by Lerner and Rowe Injury Attorney's Office in Pahrump. In a wreck, need a check? Call 702-877-1500.
Let's take a look through our Lerner and Rowe weather cam at the temporary lake at Death Valley, which has transformed from salt flats to about 2 feet for kayaking because of all the flooding. A closer look at our weather when we return.
News 25 weather is brought to you by Dairy Council of Nevada. Undeniably delicious, undeniably dairy. Enjoy what's real.
Hi, good evening, Nevada. I'm Mike Ruhan from the Channel 25 Weather Studios. All up and down the Ace Country Radio Network and streaming to your mobile device at www.kpvm.tv, and KPVM is now on Roku. Fernley saw 52 degrees, Fallon 51, Carson City 52, 48 out in Tonopah, Goldfield saw 51, 63 in Beatty, Amargosa 68, Vegas saw 67, out in Death Valley, beautiful 77, but here in the paradise of Pahrump, our current temperature is 63 degrees. We hit 66 just a little bit earlier. 19% humidity, winds out of the northwest, 10 miles per hour. Sun rose this morning at 6:17. It's going to set this evening at 5:36. As we go down to a low of 39 degrees with winds out of the east-northeast at 5 miles per hour. Humidity 51%. How does that look for the rest of the week? Tomorrow, sunshine. The next day, sunshine. Friday, sunshine. But look at the wind. Goes up to 17 miles per hour, 19 on Friday. And Saturday, 24 miles per hour, mixed with rain. There's going to be sideways rain, probably. You can't have an umbrella protect you against that, but we'll try. But look at Tuesday, back up to the 60s. Can't wait for that. Back to the desk. Here's Unette.
Thanks so much, Mikey. Great to see you there on weather, and thanks for that 70 degrees starting the weekend this Thursday. Well, that does it for this edition of News 25. I'm Unette Gentry, and from all of us here at KPVM and Ace Country Radio, we'll see you on the air next newscast. Good night.